Today we want to show you the new version of the trophy truck, or in this case we're gonna name it the Dakar Racer, because it's a bit different than the old trophy truck. Basically the old trophy truck was much bigger and it had some issues because of its weight, and I decided to make a smaller, more compact version of a 4x4 vehicle that is able to jump and go over rough terrain and things like that. So what are the improvements compared to the older one? As mentioned, it is smaller and lighter. Instead of 6, I'm using 4 BuWizz motors, and they are driving all the wheels directly. So we have front and rear wheel drive, and the four motors are driving them directly. So there is no independent wheel drive, which means that all the wheels are sharing the same power source. Next, instead of the live rear axle, we are now using independent suspension on all 4 wheels. And the beauty of this independent suspension is that the way the suspension system is designed is that the shock absorbers are at an angle, and the more you push into the shock absorber, the more perpendicular the suspension arm is to the shock absorber, the harder it gets. And this is how I managed to make this suspension kind of progressive. So it's very soft at the beginning, and then it gets harder and harder until it's really hard, until it bottoms out. So this gives it a non-linear suspension characteristics, so it can absorb smaller bumps but also absorb the big landings. Another improvement is the steering system. I'm using now 2 steering racks, just like the Audi e-tron. So 1 steering rack in the front, 1 in the rear, and the steering arms are much longer, as you can see here. So the longer steering arms mean that the steering angle is much more the steering system is much more robust, much more stiff, and that I get much better steering response, much more accurate steering angles. The model uses the McLaren suspension arms, which are 7 studs long in all the 4 wheels. And basically, last time we used these suspension arms in the McLaren, we had issues with them, and I found a way to reinforce them using this 5-studded beam. And this 5-studded beam not only supports the suspension, so basically the shock absorbers, but also keeps this suspension arm from bending inwards and outwards. And finally, now we can open the doors. And the idea was to have the entire model built with under 1000 parts, and I ended up at around 900 parts. So compared to the trophy truck, which had 1500 parts, this has 2/3 of the parts, even less, 2/3 of the power. It's much lighter, and because of the way square cube law goes, the smaller thing, the more robust it is. So we're gonna test it here in the pump track and hope we don't lose any wheels and stuff. So let's give it a go. So let's test it on the small track first. And another thing that I forgot to mention is another improvement. All the suspension system, everything is placed much lower than with the old trophy truck, so it should be more stable, so hopefully it doesn't flip. So yeah, we are getting some nice jumps as you see already, and we're just getting started. Oh, and we lost the first wheels. See what happened? The wheel came off the rim, that's why it fell off. So I don't think the issue was in the wheel, the model itself. I think just the wheel fell off. Okay, so it seems one of the differential gears is slightly damaged, but we'll fix it. It's an easy fix though. So you have 5 gears inside the differential, and what happened is that this gear probably got deformed, and once it gets deformed, the axle will keep spinning out. But that's okay, we're just gonna switch them. So we're gonna use a good gear here and we'll put the bad gears here around the edge. Okay. So basically the lesson is, if you land nicely, the wheels stay on. If you butch the landing, if you mess up the landing, then they fall off. But I still think it works better than the old one. I think it's still more reliable. So as mentioned before, one of the issues with the old one was that it wasn't very stable, and the old one was quite prone to flipping over. Now the new one, everything is much lower. All the components, the motors, the suspension system, the BuWizz bricks, everything is much lower. So in theory it should be much more stable. So now we're just gonna drive it on some flat ground and see if I can manage to flip it. So yeah, I think it's quite stable. We have yet to manage to flip it. I even went reverse and did a J-turn, and it's still on its wheels.
Amazing.
Oh yeah. So it took one GoPro to flip the model because of you can see how the weight affects basically the stability. Just one GoPro, which is like what, 200 grams on the level of the roof, and yeah, we managed to flip it. So I think it's safe to say, without the GoPro, this model is much more stable than the old trophy truck. So I'm really happy with that. So let's go and test it further. So we are back here at the square where in 2020 we made a video about Lamborghini Sian, which went 30 kilometers an hour, and I thought it would be a nice ending for this model too. So we tested it on the benches, we jumped over them, and it was really nice. It even survived the jump from the bench down to the grass, and I'm really happy with it. It appears, or I think it quite is, more reliable than the previous version because it's so much lighter, and it is also really robust. So we did lose a few cosmetic details here, and we did lose a wheel once or twice, but that was because of the bad landings. As long as you land on all four wheels, it is able to survive, and I think it's currently, I think, the best off-road, let's say general off-road vehicle we made. It's not a terrain crawler, but it's really good for driving both on-road and off-road over jumps and obstacles and things like that. So if you like it too, then please remember to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.